Welcome in, everybody. We're here again for our final installment of Adobe After Effects Fun for the month of April, at least Adobe After Effects Fun with me, which is more fun maybe than some other people, but less fun than others. How's everybody doing? I have the chat up this week. Last week I forgot to open the chat. Now I have not just one chat on the big monitor, I have a second chat on the little monitor, my iPad, and hopefully we'll have some fun being able to talk to everybody today. Hello, Robert. Hello, Val. Always good to see you in the chat. Kane, Michelle, Robert, the General, as always. Paolo, good to see everybody. How's everyone doing on this fine Monday? You realize I saw one of those progress timers on Twitter, X, whatever, over the weekend. The year is a third complete already. A third complete. How is that possible? It was just New Year's Day. The year had so much promise, and what's happened? It's actually been a good year so far for me. I hope everyone else is doing good. I hope you are. Well, I hope you're having a good day, but I hope you're having a good year too, I guess, now that I've brought it up. We have today some After Effects fun where we're going to combine a little bit of some of the things that we covered over the course of this month to create sort of a vertical video slideshow, gallery, whatever you want to call it. These things are available as templates on, everywhere you look online. You can find these things all over the place. But it's a lot more fun if you can create your own, customize your own. And even if you don't want to create your own, if you at least know how they're created, it might give you a better idea of how to edit them if you are working with somebody else's template as well. So I think there's a lot of useful stuff, but there'll be a lot of just fun, simple animation, simple masking, and a few fun little tricks thrown in there. And we're going to try to build this file so that you can kind of make a template and then just drag and drop whatever new media into it you want. And your slideshow is kind of set, right? New images or new video, add a little text, you're good to go. That's the way I like to work. Nice, fast, efficient, easy. What are people saying? Joshua, hello. Good to see you. I like After Effects fun. Josh, you and I are alike. Or should I say Joshua, you and I are alike. All right, let's get started in After Effects. So I have here, this is actually the completed file that we're looking at, and it's a beautiful black screen, but if I play it, you're going to see that we have this kind of split screen deal happen, a text overlay that kind of takes place, and then another split screen, and then a final text overlay. And this, by the way, this could go on for 30 images if you wanted. We're just going to do 2, and frankly, I don't know if we're even going to have time to cover everything I would like to cover, but we're going to cover as much of it as we can, and we'll have fun while we do that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go into the 04 day folder. I believe Val has posted this in the chat, but a lot of these files are downloadable. There's a couple things I've added here. I have my own Adobe stock images that I've thrown in here, which are just going to be there as placeholders. The real thing we're going to add at the end are the videos, which you do have access to. And then I have a couple LUTs as well, just because I was messing around with doing as close to a color space transform as I think I can do in Adobe After Effects for right now. But it's just applying a proper C-Log 3 to Rec 709 style LUT to some video footage. We don't have to get into all that, whatever I was just saying. All right, I'm going to go to this day 04 underscore working project. You probably don't have any of these other files in your folder, but you should have this day underscore 4. So we'll open this, and it's a blank file. Which is perfect. And we have one single composition that's been created. If I go composition settings, as we have been doing all throughout this month of After Effects, this is just a simple 1080 by 1920. So a 9 by 16, hence the vertical video, good, at least in this day and age, for social media vertical video. Now we are going to change the name of our composition. We're going to call this render underscore scene or something. Well, we can call it whatever we want. But the point is, this is going to be kind of like when we have built our slideshow, we're going to render out this scene. All the other compositions that we're about to create are all going to sort of feed into this one master scene. And this is our render scene from which we render. SLP Price, good to see you. 422. Val says hello to you. All right, so how do we begin? Well, I guess let's get started by dragging in these 2 images And you can use any images you like, or you can begin right away with dragging in video if you're following along. I'm not going to drag in video. It's just slightly more intensive to play video, and I'm streaming and screencasting and everything while I go. So I'm just taking these two still images, and then once we've built it, when I replace the media, I'll show you how it works with the video. So I think it'll be pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and create a new scene. So I'm going to just duplicate this render scene. So I'm going to select it here in my project bin and just hit Command D. That would be Control D on the PC. It's going to duplicate it. I'm going to hit the Enter or Return key, and I'm going to name this media_01. And this is going to be the holder for our media file. So if I double click this, the reason I duplicated is I just want it to match. I want the size to be the same. I want the frame rate to be the same. I want it all to be the same. Let's go ahead and grab, or I'm going to grab the waiting line club image, drag it down here, and it's a picture of this young woman holding, I think, what's supposed to be a phone, but it kind of looks like a tin of mints or something. This isn't the part of the image that I want. I'm going to right-click on that file, and I'm going to go transform and choose fit to comp height. And that's going to size it down a little bit. And then I'm just going to move it over to the right a little. So I'm going to hold down Shift while I drag it over. And our focus is going to be on this couple right here at the top of the steps. So we want to focus on this interaction. And if we kind of have her standing down here, you know, peeking in what's going on up there, that's fine. So we have media 01. All right, I'm going to go back to render scene, and we're going to drag media 01 down here onto our main render scene. This file can sit here. What we want to do now is create a series of animated masks that go bing, bing, bing. And they're going to carry pieces of this image with them. So here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to make sure I deselect everything so we're not creating a mask on our media composition. So deselect everything and grab our rectangle tool here. And I'm just going to drag out a rectangle, something like that. And then I'm going to open up that rectangle one and open up rectangle path. And I'm going to unlink the size, like constrain proportions option, and I'm going to set the width to be 1080. It's the width of our composition. And then I happen to know that 1920 divided by 3 is 640. So I'm going to say 640. And then what I'll do, grab my move tool here. I'm going to select this. The color doesn't matter. I'm just going to make sure it doesn't have a stroke. If yours has a stroke, select the word stroke. Come over here to stroke options and just choose that slash icon to get rid of the stroke. Over here in my align panel, by the way, window align if you don't see it. We're going to align this to the composition. We're going to go center align and then align it to the top. Great. There is our first mask. And then I'm going to hit Command D once, twice. And these are going to be our 3 masks. So I'm going to select this top one, shape layer 3. I'm going to call this top. I'm going to select the one in the middle, hit enter. I'm going to call this center. And I'm going to select the bottom one. And you probably guessed it. I'm going to name that one bottom. And what we'll do with center, we're going to just go to our align panel, and we're going to say, look, align that to the middle. And then we're going to go to bottom, and we're going to say align that to the bottom. Now, the anchor point is not in the center. I'm going to just ignore that for now. We're going to sort of animate around that. If you wanted to be a stickler, you could just correct that alignment. But again, we're pinched for time, so I'm going to try to do this kind of quickly here. All right. What we want to do is focus first on our media and how it interacts with our top animated mask. The word escaped me for a second. But I think before we do that, what we'll do is animate some movement into our media itself. And let's just do a simple, like, slow expanding scale up. And this will take place over about 6 seconds. So you can see we have seconds here on our timeline. So let's hit the letter F, the S. I almost said F, S. And we're going to drop a keyframe here, and we're at 100%. Then we'll come out to 6 seconds, voila. And I'm going to bump this to, I don't know, let's go 120%. Kind of radical. And then I'm going to hold down Shift, select that first keyframe. You see they're both highlighted in blue. They're both selected. You can right-click them, and you can go Keyframe Assistant and just choose to easy ease them. Note the hotkey of F9. It's a really helpful hotkey, or if you use it a lot, customize it. That's just a helpful hotkey. So now you're going to see we just have this really kind of slow, like it's almost like it's stretching as it pushes. There's tension that's being built. All right, great. We're going to turn on our top masking layer now, and we're going to go ahead and animate the position. So I'm going to hit the letter P, and we'll animate this over, I don't know, maybe a second. Is probably good, something like that. Let's see how it looks. And let's hit the stopwatch here to drop a keyframe. This is our finished position, which is why I'm going to the 1 second mark. Then we'll go back here to the 0 second mark, and we're going to drag this off frame. Now notice I've dragged over and I just wham, slammed into the side of my monitor, and we stopped at about 188 pixels. A little trick is you can hold down the shift key, and that's going to drag it in much larger increments. So now I'm way off screen, or I'm way off stage here in my scene, and I barely got my mouse close to the edge of my monitor. So now if I play this, you can see we have a red box that slides in. Now it's kind of ugly because it's not eased. So I'm going to hit F9 and I'm going to ease it. That's going to help it a little bit. Cool. So there we go. We just have a little bit of a smoother animate in. And what we can do now is do this animation to each of our center and bottom. The problem is we want our center, if I shut these two top layers off, we want our center mask to come in from right of stage. So really what we can do is copy this animation on position over to just the bottom. So I'm going to go here to the 0 second mark. I've selected the bottom layer. Well, let's drag a selection over these two keyframes on the top layer. Command or Control C, as you would expect to copy. Go down to the bottom layer, Command or Control V. It doesn't look like anything happened because here in the bottom layer, contents are open. If we close this and we hit the letter P, there's position, there our keyframes are. So if we play this, we can see, well, we can't see anything. And the reason we can't see anything is because I did something dumb. I'm actually going to undo that. So we copied both the X and the Y position. So really what's happening now is both these rectangles are on top of each other, moving in together. So we'll manually keyframe it. It doesn't take that long to just do it that way. But let's take a look at what this looks like here. So let's take this media. We're going to choose toggle switches / modes. We're going to set the matte to the top. And let's see what this looks like. We're going to play. And there's our image. It's still doing that slow push in animation, but it also now wipes in from the side. Very cool. The problem is we now need to duplicate our media layer to have a version of it for the center and the bottom. So select media 1, hit Command or Control D twice, and drag a copy of this beneath center and beneath bottom. And notice this is all attached to the top track matte. We're going to set it back to no matte, which is just no mask, right? So there's the top. Let's go ahead and fuss with the center now. We're going to open up our positioning. I'm actually going to select top here, and I'm going to hit the letter U. That's going to show you the keyframes that are on that layers, just so we can get an idea of timing. So as this begins coming in, maybe when it gets to about halfway, somewhere around there, I want this second animation to start. So I'm going to say, I'll go ahead and drop a keyframe for my position there, and then bring this out between 1 and 2 seconds. And I am going to hit the little diamond to drop a keyframe there. I'm going to go back to my original keyframe using this little arrow, right? And on this keyframe, we're going to drag our mask off stage that way. Hold down Shift, select both keyframes, hit F9, and we've eased. And now when we play this, we can see our box has come in from the side. Problem is it's not carrying the image with it because we haven't set the track matte. So we're going to set the matte to be the center mask. And now what we're going to have, let's shut off our bottom media. Now what we're going to have is that starts. Now it's a little bit, see how it's kind of too late. We really want to start seeing that middle image right around there. So let's go to our center mask, hit the letter U, and we're going to select both of our keyframes, and we're just going to drag this back until we start seeing it. So something like that. So here we start dragging, and the image is now going to start slicing its way together. So very cool. Let's see. Your starter files will make a fine addition to my collection. I mean, isn't that what we do most of the time with the starter files and the stock imagery? It just adds to that. It's like the ever-growing font folder that has tens of thousands of fonts that we never actually use for anything. But feel free, take them, use them for whatever you like. All right, let's do this here with the bottom mask as well. So I'm going to hit position. We'll do this kind of quickly here. We're going to start it right around here. Actually, I'm going to go to its finished position. We're going to have it finished right around here. We're going to hit the stopwatch to drop our final finished keyframe. We'll go back to right about here, let's say, and we're going to drag this off screen this way, just like that. We'll select both keyframes, hit F9, and select our bottom media, set the matte to be the bottom mask. So essentially what's happening here, and I'll show you just a little trick in a minute. All these layers with the little black and white dot icon, that means it's a mask. So you can kind of ignore them. Now, it is what we've animated, but the main thing is we have our media, and our media is king in this case, because that is what makes our file what it's going to be. But now if we scrub through this, we can see that we have our image cutting together just like we want it. And it'd be up to you. Do you want to make it happen faster? That's easy to do, right? We can just select all of our layers, hit the letter U, and we can see these. That was kind of a dumb way to do it. Hold on. Let me hit the letter U again to collapse. Let's just go to our masks. I'm just command clicking all the masks, hit the letter U, and we could select like the final, shift select the final keyframe and compress the time and make it happen much faster, right? So it all would just go through a bit faster. We could do something like that, whatever. We're not going to fuss with the timing too much here. But notice that across our 3 slices, because we animated our media, as they come together, they're perfectly, it's all still perfectly zooming in unison because it's really an instance of the same file or the same, yeah, it's an instance of the same file. So we have that. Now, maybe we also would like our image to move with this. This would have been a good idea to think about earlier, except for the fact that for the top and bottom, the image is coming from the left side of frame. For the middle, the image is coming from the right side of frame. So let's select our media here and hit the letter P for position. And we know we should probably open up top as well so we can kind of move this together. So we know that we're going to begin off screen to the left and it's going to end right about here. That's fine. So we're going to go ahead with position and drop our keyframe. This is the image is going to stop here. And then we'll go back to second 1 and we're going to just slide the image off screen, something like that. And we'll select this and hit F9. And let's see how this looks. So when we slide that in, you can now see instead of it looking like it's just a mask wipe, it actually is going to look like the whole image is moving in. And I kind of like that effect. But you could mix it up and make some have the moving image and some be the static image that's just being wiped across and being revealed. It's really up to you. But we can do this really quickly here. I think I'm going to do it with the center as well. Let's go ahead with position here. And drop this guy in place, bang, move to where we want it to begin, move them off screen, something like so. Select both keyframes, F9, got it. And I'll probably just leave the bottom. I'll probably leave the bottom as it is. Let's see how that looks, right? So something like that, where it just all kind of fades together, cool. All right, so now let's say we want to create a text overlay as well. Like, hey, this is my night last night. I went out to this concert or whatever. Let's have a text layer. So we can do this we can do it a number of ways, but we'll probably just duplicate media 01, Command or Control D, and we're going to rename this to be type underscore 01. And I'm going to double click to go into the composition. It's still just that JPEG image. I'm going to get rid of that though. And what I want to do is I want to place a solid color that we can change and then the text on top of that. So we're going to add a solid, and there's 100 different ways to do this, but this is the way we're doing it for today's purposes. Right click, new solid, and we can name it whatever we want, text BG or something. The color can be white, that's fine. The color doesn't really matter because we're going to go over here to effects and presets, and we're going to choose fill. And give After Effects a second, give it a second. At some point, it'll show up. Maybe I need to hide some of my other effects. Whoops, I don't want to do that. There we go. Generate fill. I guess it just needed to be refreshed or something. I'm going to drag this fill and drop it on top of text BG. It's going to automatically kick me to my effect controls panel, which if you're here in your project panel, the hotkey is just Command or Control 0, and it's going to just bloop you right over from project to effect controls. And we see here the color. It's red. I'm going to go with blue instead because that's what I prefer in this case. We're going to hit OK, and we'll set the opacity to, I don't know, like 50%. Something where we'll definitely still be able to see our image beneath it. Cool. So we have a background. If I were to go back to my render scene now and hit Command or Control 0 to go back to the project bin, and I take type 01 and I drop it in here, you can see that I just have this blue overlay, which looks kind of cool. I want to be able to control how and where it shows up, but we also need, most importantly, some type. So let's grab our type tool, and I'm just going to drag a box kind of into the middle like this, and I'm going to say, check out the fun I had with my my crew last night or something, whatever, I don't know. And now we're going to align this, center align horizontally and vertically, like so. I'm using that same text we used last week with our lower third just because it's fat and chunky and I think kind of fun, this Tandu. It's available over at Adobe Fonts. It's a legible font. If I go back to render scene now, you can see I have this. So that's pretty cool. Now, you might be saying, hey, there's a problem. Why is it solid and not 50% opacity? It is 50% opacity. The problem is, or what you're seeing is the fact there's no image underneath it right now. As soon as the image animates out, we can see it is in fact 50% opacity. So now that you have type, if you were to change your image or change your media, all you would do is go in and double click on type, change your type in here, and this can be anything. Last night, 1989 or something. And we're going to see, and also realign it to the center. And boom, it's updated in our actual slideshow. Now, it's not that impressive because we haven't animated this. So let's animate it. Let's say after a second or two of the image being on screen, we want to have a similar type of masking effect with this, maybe a vertical mask or something. Let's try to do this quickly here. We'll right click. We're going to create our mask a different way just because we can do things differently. We're going to create a solid here. And we're just going to do a double wipe mask. So I'm going to say left mask or something like that. The color white is fine. And I'm going to go to scale. So I'm going to hit the letter S. I'm going to shut off the chain link, and I'm going to set the width to 50%. That's the height. I'm going to set the width to 50%. There we go. And then back to align. I'm going to align this left. Cool. So now I have one mask. Now, all I need to do with this mask is open up my positioning. I'm going to drop my starting keyframe here. Let's say this is going to animate in over the course of about half a second. I'm going to drop a second keyframe there, go back to my first keyframe, and let's have this begin from the top. So I'm going to just scale this or slide this right off stage, select both keyframes, hit F9, and now our new mask drops down. Well, I need one for the right side too, so let's select this, hit Command or Control D. We just duplicate it, select that mask. We're going to hit Enter to name it, and we're going to name this right mask. I just had a thought for a second. Imagine if I had named the left mask right and the right mask left. Man, that made me look dumb. All right. And we're going to have this start probably when the top is about half finished. So I'm going to grab both these position keyframes, bring it to here. And the only thing I need to change is this starting keyframe. So let's just make sure we're exactly on the starting keyframe. And I am going to bring this way down to the bottom. And just as I say that, we do actually need to bring this over because this should be aligned all the way over here. Now, I don't know if I quite got it. Let's make this 808, and we need to do it for both keyframes, 808, like that. All right, so now we can go ahead and cool. Well, actually, we got pretty close. If it's not exact, we got pretty close. All right, so for our type now, we're going to duplicate the type, Command or Control D, a copy for the left and for the right. This one, we're going to go to matte. We're going to choose right mask. This one here, we're going to go left mask, and let's see how this looks. So we play through, we cut in from the sides, we drop from the top just like that. And it looks pretty good. We're like a pixel off. I don't know if you can see that. We're like a pixel off. It's so close. Normally what you would do, you would create both those masks, the solid for the left and the right, and just use your alignment options, right? Use the align panel and just say, look, align left, align right, and it's going to be perfect. There's none of that guessing game. But I do things the smart way. What can I say? I'm kind of dumb sometimes. All right, so let's take a look at how we can edit this now in terms of swapping out media. So the first thing to imagine would be, imagine you have a bunch of this stuff built into here. Maybe you have 6 or 7 slides and you're doing different type of mask animations. You can very quickly and easily, you can set up a series of animations you like. Maybe you like these top-down animations. Maybe you want to have 3 or 4 vertical lines going back and forth, and then you want to cut to 3 or 4 horizontal lines, then a diagonal doodad and a circle coming out of the middle, or whatever it may be that you like. You're going to end up building out multiple media files. You might have a media 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or something, right? As you have different scenes. I don't have them though, so I'm going to delete them. In order to change our imagery, all we have to do is change what's in our Media 01 composition. But before we do that, let me show you one quick thing. You ever notice this little doodad, this guy peeking up behind the wall? It's like that funny sketch you used to do in middle school. What we can do is we can hit toggle switches modes back to here, and we have this little shy guy peeking over the wall. We can just hide all of our mask layers like that. And then when we toggle shy mode on and off, it just kind of cleans up our layer panel a little bit. So now we just see our media and our type. So we don't have to be bothered with all that extra stuff, right? When it's blue, it's hiding all the stuff. So here, let's change the media out. All I have to do is go to media. I'm going to pop back out to my Finder. Let's drag one of these videos in. Let's go with, like, I don't know, whatever, this one. And I'm here in media 1. I'm just going to shut off my image, and I'm going to drag this video in. Now you can see the video was shot vertical, so it's on its side, and I shot it in a format that it does not automatically flip in post. That's fine. We can hit the letter R. We've got rotation, set it to -90. Bam, looks good. Select it again, hit S for scale. Let's scale it down, something like that. Looks pretty good. And then I'm going to try, it was shot in C-Log 3, so I'm going to try applying a color LUT and see what it looks like. So I'm going to drag apply color LUT from the effects panel onto here. It's going to open this up. Now it's brought me right into a C-Log 3 LUT folder that I happen to have. I'm going to go with this Utopia Canon C-Log 3 LUT, and it just does a little something, something. The other thing I'm going to do, so it doesn't drive me crazy, is I'm going to shut the audio off because nobody needs that. We're gonna go back here, and all we have to do is take a look, and there you have the changed composition just like that. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this afternoon and being here for this. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, if you know a little bit how you can work with and change your own slideshows and slideshow templates in After Effects, just makes life a little easier. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.